Up next is Nabi Qureshi. Nabi is a second-generation Pakistani immigrant originally from Texas, but has found community here as a student, an advocate, and organizer. She uses she, her pronouns and is most passionate about learning and unlearning and helping people find their voice to speak out for change. She is currently pursuing her bachelor's degree and hopes to go to graduate school as well and plans on running for a local office someday.
Hi. Thank you guys. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we're here today on Dena'ina land. I'm acknowledging this not only in gratitude of their stewardship and care for the land for generations before us, but also to recognize the ongoing legacy of colonialism that we still see today and we're working to dismantle today. I'd like to thank all the organizations that came together to put this on. It's great to see this stuff happen, and thank you all for being here. My name is Nabi, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm an organizer at the Alaska Center and a student at UAA. I've always identified as an advocate, but I haven't always been politically involved. In fact, I would, for a while, try to stay away from politics. I saw the government as just hopeless and stagnant and ineffective at creating positive change. I felt the government didn't represent me well, and I was right. The government doesn't represent me well. It doesn't represent us well. It's overwhelmingly white and straight and male. And I know by myself and by looking around this room, it doesn't represent us well. The 116th Congress, which is now, is 24% female, which means that the remaining 76% is male, which is a huge gap. It's also only 23% people of color, too. You guys might remember 2018 was a record-breaking year for women in politics. We gained 22 seats in the Senate and the House. But even with that very small victory, women are less than a quarter of the representation in Congress, yet we're about half the population. So how are we half the population, yet so poorly represented in our own system? How are we supposed to trust the system when we see it's consistently failing us in such a fundamental way? Why are there so few women in public office? Well, it's not because people aren't voting for women, it's because women aren't running for office. It's because from a young age, boys are socialized more than girls to go into politics. It's because even with the same experience and credentials, women see themselves as underqualified to run for office, while men in the exact same spot have no such thought. It's because women are significantly less likely to be encouraged to run for office at all from anyone, from their friends, from family, from colleagues, from anyone at all. It's because for a lot of us, it was never even considered as an option. Okay, so let me ask, has anyone in this room ever thought of running for office? Raise your hand. That's great. Has anyone been encouraged by anyone else to run for office? That's great, y'all should, that's a lot. So according to Emily's List, which is a national resource that helps elect women to office, you usually have to ask a woman 7 times before they'll actually run for office. And so many of us, even in this room, haven't even been encouraged once. So I'm up here to ask you guys, will you run for office? Because we need you. We need to be encouraging each other if we want to see that representation in our government. Change is happening. We had a record-breaking year in 2018, and hopefully we'll have another one this year. It's happening, and we all have a part in that. Okay, so now I need you to turn to the person next to you and ask them, will you run for office?
You can still find
Okay. So now turn to the person on your other side and ask them the same thing. Okay. Okay, so by now, you should have been asked at least 3 times to run for office, but you don't have to wait till 7. I'm up here to tell you that if you care about what goes on in your community, then you are qualified to run for office. You have a voice and a place and a spot, and you deserve to be heard as a citizen and as a leader. We need more women to run for office because we need more women in office. We need our government to be more female, less male, more queer, and less white. So, go out there and go run for office and vote for people that represent you. Thank you.